What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and everything is going to be okay. Just wanted you to know that. It's also the name of the movie that I watched. Stars Bryan Cranston, Allison Janney, Benjamin Evan Ainsworth, aka the New Link, Jack Champion, Chris Cooper is in this, Simon Rex, and Laura Benanti. It's got a pretty solid cast. I was excited for it. It's a sort of a theater / music theater leaning show. So if you're a theater person, you may enjoy this movie a lot more than really anybody else would. And yeah, it's an indie. It's sat around for a while and then quietly released this year. Has audio description done by the Aspen Group. WTF is the Aspen Group? They sound like a shady financial institution or something. Anyway, and Tansy Alexander did the narration. The weird thing about Aspen Group is they actually credited her first and then themselves, which is, I don't think I've ever seen that. I think the companies always take the description first, where they say, audio description created by blank, voiced by or narrated by. No, they took second fiddle. They were like, Aspen Group. I was like, okay. It wasn't bad. I mean, there are a couple things here that the film is a little atypical in its presentation. It's trying to be really quirky. It's trying to be a little bit offbeat, off color at times, and it's a weird movie. I really wanted to like this a lot more than I did, and I'm not sure it threaded the needle quite the way that it wanted to. So, what is it? It's Janney and Cranston are the parents of Ainsworth and Champion, and Cranston is like hard into theater. He's a theater person. He's currently got a theater, and they put on shows. And his youngest son, who's played by Benjamin Evan Ainsworth, who, if you were lucky enough to watch The Haunting of Bly Manor, you'll know that this kid can act, and that's posing, great things for him to be Link in the new Legend of Zelda movie. And he's fine here. He plays a kid that is sort of trying to figure out his own sexuality, and he's sort of really interested in theater. He even sort of talks to the ghosts of former theater people throughout. Like Noel Coward just randomly pops up as a ghost, or as the audio description likes to use the term specter, which is interesting. So he's having a bit of a problem at school. He gets called into school for like the dumbest fucking things. Like his parents are just like, he's brought into school for like the worst reasons. Like the first one I can kind of understand why they're having, but like to bring in parents for some of these things, it's just like, and so like the first time he comes in, his dad shows up and he wrote a paper, but it wasn't the right paper. And he also said something about like how the vagina grosses him out, and but it was in relation to, they were talking about like angina or something like that in gym class. I can't remember exactly, but it led to a conversation where they get to the point where the kid steps out of the room, and the principal's about to have a hard talk with the dad, and she's like, you know what, I think it's time that maybe you realize your son is gay. And he's like, I'm a theater person, and gives her like a long speech. I'm like, wait, you call people in for this? Like, where the are you? And then later on, he's gonna do like they're gonna do like another principal scene. I'm trying also not to spoil like the whole movie. Do like another principal scene, and like a principal calls in, and this time it's Allison Janney, and the principal's like, he said God does not exist. And I'm like, no, you do not call people in for this shit. This is this is not parent phone call. Please come in today. Immediately, we need you. Like, this is why our education system is crumbling, is if there are seriously principals and teachers that are doing this kind of stuff. This is not the kind of constant updates that anybody ever expects about their child. I was thinking that, I was like, if my mom had been called in to find out that I said God does not exist, my principal probably would have been decapitated. She'd have been like, you wasted my fucking time with this? Just like straight up, just like, what the fuck? Like school fights, stealing, like, I mean, there's like so many other things. And I don't even think I would have been sent to the office for saying God does not exist. I don't know the director, what kind of like repressed childhood he had, that these are the scenes where people get called to the office. This is the kind of movie that you're in store for. You're also in the kind of movie where I think there's a scene where they talk about talking to girls, and Les is still trying to figure out his own sexuality, and he hasn't completely just given up on the idea that he might be bi or straight or whatever. So he wants to be able to approach girls, and he gets this advice about approaching somebody essentially with big dick energy. He gets the advice of, I just walk up to girls like I got a foot long dick. And so they actually sort of like find a way to visualize that as he walks up to people. I'm telling you, this film just makes like random choices all the time, and they don't really all make sense. I felt like I was watching sort of like a more risque version of Family Circus, where you're just going through like these little thought bubbles, and then like you have to wait for the next one, but they're not all really connected together. And then in your mind, you're trying to connect them together. You're trying to think, well, what happened between Sunday and Monday in this crazy family circus? What even happened? So the older brother, Jack Champion's character, doesn't really want to do anything with his family anymore. He wants to go try to be normal, have a girlfriend, be on the football team. He's not any good, but he just wants to try. And they end up moving, so he has to, he doesn't want to move even just for the summer, so they can go to this like other theater where they're being offered an opportunity to sort of run the theater like summer stock for the summer. And it's an opportunity for their family, so he has to go anyway. And yeah, he just kind of, he's the one who's like, why am I in this family? Allison Janney is sort of just like a frustrated wife who I think at one point really supported her husband, and now is just like, we're poor. Like, your dreams are strangling this family to death. But she tries to support him as much as possible. Yeah, the film goes from there. I don't want to go on too much. Chris Cooper plays Janney's brother, who comes into the film at a certain point. The film deals a lot with Janney being religious, being Christian, and Cranston is not. And she keeps trying to get him to go to church, and she thinks that if he doesn't go to church, that he's going to end up in purgatory. So they do kind of bring up the Christian thing a lot, but in weird ways. Like, this feels like somebody's trying to work their trauma out in a screenplay, but they're not 100% sure how to do this. I was so stoked for this. Like, I don't care if a film got like wide release or whatever. It's Salvable earlier this year with Toby Kebbell just got buried. He's fantastic in that movie. everybody here's been better in something, including Benjamin. I mean, he was better in Haunting of Bly Manor. So I can't really say that this worked. I think this fell short for me. And I like theater. Like, I liked listening to the musical numbers that they kept throwing in there. It's quirky, and I don't mind that. But it also feels like it's just like it never quite makes it. It never quite resolves in the way that it's supposed to. It doesn't feel like uh, it doesn't quite feel like a cohesive work. It feels like somebody's therapy project. It feels like somebody grew up sort of in a family like this and around this time, in a different time though, and they're trying to relate it into this film with these characters. And maybe they did get called in the office because they said God is, and they were like, well, this will be funny and everybody will relate to that. And it's like, no one will relate to this, you know? I can't even imagine today with how the relationship between parents and kids and where schools are at in the Department of Education about how much it must take to call a parent into a school to talk about the kids. I mean, we got kids with cell phones and cursing and just everything nowadays. It's just, God does not exist would get you called to the principal's office. I just don't think so. So, because it's not even, I mean, you can't, it's separation of church and state. And you're allowed to be atheist in school. You can say that if you want. It's not a thing. Anyway, but absurd. It's absolutely absurd. I wanted to like this movie more. It has some smart moments to it, has some cool things. It has a nice little moment between Ainsworth and Cranston at the end that I liked. Janney's got some nice beats to it because she's a great actress. So if you hand her the right material, she'll do pretty much damn near anything with it. But it's not her best role because the film is so jumbled and mixed up that it can't be. The film just doesn't ever really know what it wants to be or how to be this quirky. Feels like something that if we could have gotten a different director on, somebody with a little bit more of a lean in this area, somebody who actually kind of gets what this is and understands it, that we might have been able to get through it. There are other people who have done sort of quirky cinema successfully, and I don't know, any of the more auteur type directors would have been fine. I'm not gonna pick one out specifically, but like, adaptation, for example, like Chris Cooper in that movie, like that was one of the things that I thought about was him in that. That's an excellent example of a film that works better trying to maneuver through some odd material. I thought of other films like Running with Scissors, Being John Malkovich, Eternal Sunshine, just all sorts of films that worked better, that are able to tell a story with a quirky way and still do it in a good way. So yeah, this isn't, I don't love this as much. Tansy's audio description is fine. Aspen Group, whatever they did, whoever they hired for this produced fine audio description. I don't have a problem with it, but yeah, this film didn't quite work for me. I wanted it to though. I did. It did. Came into this. It just didn't quite get there. I'm gonna give Everything's Going to Be Great a 5.2 out of 10. Rotten. Sorry, sports fans. It just misses the mark. Not by a lot. There are some interesting beats. This isn't like the worst time you could spend at the movies, but it's also not at a point where I can even sort of endorse it. I would not endorse it. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you guys on the other side.